Inside this box is the adventure that perhaps most people started to play Dungeons and Dragons with, at least in 5e. Was it your first adventure? My name's Paul Zajac.
And I'm Rob Egan.
Welcome to Boss Battles.
This is where we take D&D live play and smash it together with sports commentary.
Kind of.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get to it. Why don't you open up the adventure?
All right, yeah, let's see what we've got for today. So as we go here, we can see that we are going with...
It's the starter set, the Lost Mines of Phandelver. But you know what? I just had a change of mind.
Yeah.
Let's do something else. Why don't we play this adventure?
Oh, right.
Okay, go ahead. Open it up.
Yeah, two gifts in one day. This really is Christmas. Whoa!
So
what's this?
It's a trick. So it's actually the same adventure. So this is the zooped up version of the Lost Mines of Phandelver, which gets a little spookier at the end. But we're playing the first battle in both of these adventures, which is set in a place called Cragmaw Hideout, and the boss is going to be a guy named Klarg.
This cover is beautiful. So, can you tell me more about the party and what they, who's going into this cave?
Yeah, well, as a first adventure, I kind of chose some classic characters and a well-balanced party. We've got a barbarian, a warlock, a cleric, and a wizard.
So like a really good combination of frontliners and support.
Yeah, right. So there's a variety of options, and hopefully everybody will have a role to play and a chance to shine.
Okay, well, can you tell me a little bit more about Klarg?
Yeah, so Klarg is a bugbear, and bugbears are like these big bad dudes who hang around with goblins, like to tell goblins what to do, and they have a little bit extra damage capabilities and some stealth capabilities. So we'll see how that comes into play.
Yeah, if Klarg can get the first attack, it could be pretty rough.
Yeah, right. Yes.
What level is our party?
So we're playing at level 1, since that's where everybody starts in D&D.
Yeah, so that can be especially dangerous.
Right.
Especially those low levels where health can...
Yeah, you're right. Like one good shot, you could go down.
Yeah.
So it's potentially dangerous.
Before we get started, I just want to mention that our party will be starting at full health, as if they had just taken a long rest. Just like all of our battles, we want to make sure that there's a baseline so everyone has the best chances of beating our bosses.
Yeah. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay, let's get to the battle. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. Welcome to Boss Battles. And we've pre-rolled initiative and talked a little bit about the initial setup. So I'm going to quickly kind of go around counterclockwise. You can just say your name and who you're playing, what kind of character you're playing, and then we'll get started. Brandon, you're first.
I'm Brandon. I'm playing the barbarian Mosh Fury.
Okay. Next, Frank.
My name is Frank. I'm playing a cleric called Steve Slorvash.
Okay, thanks. Stefan.
My name is Stefan. I'm playing the gnome wizard Lily with her familiar Mogwai Price.
Okay, and Nick, you're up.
I am playing the great old one, warlock Edgar Slorvash.
Nice. Okay. And for our viewers up in the corner, you'll see our DM Rob, and next to him is the guest DM, and I'll let Rob introduce them.
Hi, this is Rob Egan again, coming at you as one of the commentators, and with me I have our guest commentator, Simon. Simon, thanks for joining us today. Really glad to have you with us to take a look and see how this battle runs.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm very excited.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot, Rob. So we're going to get going. Your party's infiltrated a cave system. There's been some goblins you've encountered, and you've heard rumors about a boss named Klarg, and you are at the cusp of what could perhaps be Klarg's lair. You can see up the stairs a glowing fire casting some flickering, eerie light into an open cave, and otherwise, you can see at the back some crates, and behind you, there's a stream gurgling. There's stalactites and stalagmites, and that's the basic setup. So, Mosh, Brandon, you won initiative. So, tell us, what are you going to do?
I think I would like to start with, I would just like to move slightly a little bit over. That way I can get a clear view of both of these pathways. And I'd just like to do a quick search, see if I see anybody around, see anything out of the normal.
Sure, yeah. Go ahead and make an investigation check.
Absolutely.
All right, let's take a quick break here. Investigation check. There's always a kind of talk around investigation versus perception. Simon, why do you think it was a good idea for investigation in this scenario?
Well, it depends a lot on the DM, which one you're going to use. Here, I think it's investigation because it's not only seeing and hearing, it's also looking for clues about, like, is someone hiding somewhere? Is something out of normal? So I think that's why Paul here went for investigation.
I totally agree. I think investigation was a great choice. I also personally think it's underused. I think perception is more often used, and I know personally I like to put investigation a lot in my battles. So all right, let's see how it goes.
Let's see.
First roll.
Yep. First roll. Looks like I got an 18.
Yeah, so you as part of the setup, part of this is contrived because we're playing the boss battle. The party had come this way, and so back down those two trails were, you can see a bridge going across to an area where you'd fought some goblins already, and then the pathway down by the riverside has been cleared out, but you don't see anything new coming up behind you.
Understood. I make sure to relay this to the party.
Okay.
The barbarian doing the
say
smart move here.
While you're doing that, let's move on to Steve Slorvash. What are you going to do?
All right. Did you say we came in this way?
You came in from. I'll use this marker here. You came in from this way, okay. And then you kind of crept up here. You would of course entered the cave system down by the where the stream comes in from the outside. This area here had been a kennel of sorts. It appeared there was some wolves that you had to fight down there. There was some heavy rubble that kind of trailed offward and upward, and you never ended up finding out where the end of that was.
Okay, so what I want to do is got to do what Marsh just did, but down in that little cave over there, little next room, basically to the south. I want to see if I can hear anything. I don't want to go in per se, but just at the top of the stairs. Yeah. I'm guessing those stairs go down.
I interpret them as going up, so yeah. Interesting, because you've run this adventure, so I guess in another world, the stairs go down. Today they're going up. Go ahead and make a perception check.
Again, we're using perception because he's specifically saying hearing, so a good difference from the investigation from earlier.
Ooh, that's not bad. That's a 19.
19. So you get a sense that there is some movement at the end of the cave, right where you can see those barrels. There's something moving behind there. You can't really tell. There, whatever's there is hidden, and you can see let's see, just kind of with that investigation, you were able to suss out a little bit more about the cave. And so you can see that there's this area of additional cave system, and there's some pretty big stalactites and stalagmites that are obscuring part of the area. So you can't be 100% sure what's going on there.
I love the use
Let's
of
go ahead.
the settings. and the
Lily,
maps.
what are you going to do?
Well, I would love to warg into my owl and send Nogwai 60 feet into the cave as far as.
Let's take another quick record scratch. A double record scratch on that one. So we're talking about warging. Simon, can you kind of help explain what that is and what Lily is doing with her familiar?
So Lily, as a wizard, has cast Find Familiar beforehand and has an owl as a familiar. And as an action, the wizard can see and perceive basically through the senses of the familiar. So here, Lily's using warging, which is a word for seeing through the familiar, perceiving through the familiar, to see the surroundings.
Right. The term warg isn't part of the player's handbook. I think it's much more of a term that is used in other settings, other stories and such. But essentially, the mechanics are the same, where you get to see, have the senses of the familiar and see through their eyes and hear through their ears.
It has also the advantage that the familiar can have better senses than the original character. And in particular, the owl has very strong hearing and sight. It can have advantage on perception roll.
That's great. And also, and the movement speed too. Owls are a little bit more quicker. They have that standard 60-foot flying speed. So I think as we catch back up with the adventure, we'll notice that the player playing Lily does not roll with advantage, though they do pretty well, as we'll find out, though it could always be better. All right, let's get back to it.
Okay, so Nogwai, why don't you go ahead and make a perception check for Nogwai?
That's a natural 19, so that's a 22.
Yes. So
Nice.
Sounds
there's
like it
nothing
wasn't roll
having an
advantage,
owl
but still
familiar.
very good.
They're so handy. So Nogwai does get more detail about what's going on in here, and you can see that there are two goblinoid. In fact, they are goblins hiding behind the barrels and such, and then over to the west, you see a giant lurking.
That's quite the
armored,
ambush.
ugly thing. You've never seen one before
Hiding
in
for
your
ambush.
life.
This probably did a great job trying to find out where everyone was before running in.
But he doesn't look too
Really good
happy
play.
to kind of like see another creature in his area. Anything else, Lily?
I moved that would be 50 feet, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. I'm going to have Nogwai move back 15 feet to end his 60 feet flying distance.
Okay.
And I'll let everybody else know what I see in there.
Again, that's 60 foot.
Okay.
It's really
So,
advantageous.
Nick,
advantageous.
Edgar Slorvash, you've just heard the news that there's goblins, a big ugly something, and apparently a wolf as well. That's the intel. What are you going to do? Let's get you on screen. There.
Yeah, I guess I'll move down. And what's the range? The range of my attack.
So now that we know that,
Yeah, so you are essentially 30 feet away from where the goblins are. You don't have a line of sight to these other two.
now that we know where all the enemies are, now it's starting to figure out how we can attack them. So it's always good to kind of get your positioning on the map.
And they have the upper hand here, being
Or then I think
They do.
I'll cast Armor of Agathys on myself.
Okay. Nice.
Wait, is
So
that,
that's an action.
is
Or
that-
do you have any bonus actions or further movement you want to do?
Now remember, just try and figure out what to do. You want to make
Okay,
sure that you
I guess not.
get it right.
no, we're at level 1. We don't have bonus actions.
Okay.
I will say that some level 1
All right.
characters do have bonus actions.
After Nagwai has kind of looked around and put your combatants on alert, they're no longer, I guess, trying to hide with you, and so the goblins stand up and they're gonna take a bead and attack. So one sends an arrow out towards Edgar and gets a total of 11. But with you got your armor of Agathys, right? So what does that make your armor class effectively?
maybe
Is
we
it
can
enough?
take a
My
quick break
AC is
here.
13.
Let's take a quick let's take a quick break to kind of talk about Armor of Agathys.
It is it is a spell. Although it is called armor, it does not modify AC armor class. It is a spell that adds temporary HP, 5 at level 1, and deals damage in retaliation against melee attacks, as long as the temporary HP are up. And one interesting thing to note is that it lasts for an hour. So as a quick tip, it can be good to cast it preventively before the combat starts because it lasts for an hour.
Yeah, it's a really good point. If you know that you're going to this cave, you're not sure what to find, just start casting that, and that way, once you do get into battle, you don't have to use your action to cast it. Really good tip. If you're looking for a spell that does increase AC, I think that one that you'd be looking for is Mage Armor, which I believe gives a base armor class of 13 plus your dexterity. Also useful, but the Armor of Agathys is much more gives much more retribution to those attackers against you. It's a nice little revenge spell. That's great. Yeah. So let's get back. I think now that we know that the Armor of Agathys does not add to AC, let's see what the results are.
13. Yeah. So the
13.
The arrow streaks towards you and like kind of gets caught in the that arcane eldritch presence surrounding you and misses. The second one is going to try and hit
all
Lily
part of the game.
and gets a 23 to hit.
Hits.
Yeah. And so you take 5 points of damage, Lily.
Ooh.
There are big swings. when
Level
you're at
1
low
that
levels.
hurt.
That one hurt.
Encouraged and bolstered by their success, this brute is just, he's going to run out and attack somebody.
Klarg
He
gets in.
moves into
Klarg goes in.
range of you, Steve,
He's now in.
and he rolls a total of a 6. So he's got this big kind of spiked club, and it clangs against the wall. Some rubble falls next to you, but he misses.
That would have hurt.
And
yeah,
his wolf
especially,
companion
I
is
believe Klarg
going
is a
to
bugbear.
come up.
Extra damage on that attack.
I'm going to try to and attack you. I think I've got him locked down here for some reason.
So right
Down,
here
boy,
we find
down.
that there's some
Stay.
technical difficulties happening as we'll hear.
Yeah,
As they work through them, I will say that this is technical difficulties will always happen they'll always happen to your DMs. This is a really good way to just improv through. What do you think, Simon?
I'm gonna run
Yeah.
with that.
Yes.
And Klarg just looks back at him like, "Where's my backup?" Okay.
Good
So that
improv.
brings us
Very
back
good
to the,
improv here.
I love
top of the
the
round.
flavor of when
to you,
these things
Mosh.
happen.
Where are
All
you?
right.
I lost you, I think. Yeah, you're up there. Okay.
Yep, there I am. Yeah, having seen my allies in here being attacked, I see this giant hulking humanoid come in and take a swing, hit the wall. I want to make the decision to come back around. I should have 30 movements, so I should be able to get right in here. And I'm going to actually take a swing at him with
Okay.
the halberd that I have.
Let me ask you: are you going to use your rage feature? I think as a bonus action, you can rage, and that way you're going to get the benefit of that. Otherwise, you'll just be attacking him.
I'm not going to use it yet because
Okay.
I don't know if I'll be able to keep it going with where the other enemies are placed. Is why.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break here to go over some of the things that just happened that player Brandon who's playing Mosh went over. So I caught a couple of these things. I'll just say one of them, which I won't go into too much detail right now, is the move onto that diagonal. I'll go into that a little bit later. But first, Simon, do you want to talk about Rage, where Mosh decided not to use the bonus action for Rage?
Yeah, we see the barbarian playing it smart and tactical. Already checking the surroundings beforehand, and now this. So Rage can be activated as a bonus action and lasts for a minute, which most cases is completely fine for a whole fight. It can deactivate if the barbarian doesn't deal damage or take damage, I believe, in a turn, which is what Mosh is mentioning. And then also keeping his bonus action for other moves can be a strategic choice.
That's right. So I'll give a quick sneak peek because this player does have Polearm Master, which now that it chose not to use bonus action for Rage, may free it up for another attack. But let's get back to the action to see what ends up happening.
Sure. It lasts a minute, and so each round, of course, is 6 seconds. So yeah, that's totally fine if you want to hold on to your rage. You're like the level-headed barbarian. Go ahead.
Great strategy.
Make a roll.
All right. So looks like I've got a glaive. So
Yeah.
let's see if I'm doing this right. I rolled a 21 with the modifier.
Okay. That is
Ooh,
definitely
nice.
going to hit.
All right.
Solid hit.
And let's see.
Roll for damage.
We got a 9 on the damage.
Ooh, nice. And so you just kind of like wedge the glaive in between or
Ooh, that's a good hit.
That is. It would have been harder with Rage because we've gotten an extra 2 + 2 to damage rolls. So that's always something to consider as well.
Now, the one thing I do just want to check on quick, with Mosh's Polearm Master, I can do a bonus attack. Am I allowed to do that with level 1?
yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's go for that for the bonus
great
action.
use of the bonus action. Extra attacks.
So we
always helpful.
rolled an 18 for
Yeah, that's
5
gonna hit.
damage.
Oh man. So
Nice.
So in this
Nice.
case, the player switched out the +2 damage from Rage and got 5 damage from that extra attack. That was a great decision.
For another,
A bit of gambling.
It is. That's all part of this is you're not sure how those dice are going to roll.
and kind of injured. Steve Slorvash, you're next.
All right. Steve is gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna slap this bugbear right in the face, and with that, I am gonna cast Inflict Wounds.
Okay.
That can hurt.
That can hurt. Yeah. Inflict
That's
wounds is
an
a great
18.
spell.
That's gonna hit.
All right, and just gonna roll it on Beyond here.
But let's see how much it.
That's
can hurt.
a 15 points of necrotic damage.
Oh,
15.
Yeah,
Wow.
3d10s.
Yeah. So I mean,
that's about average.
That's it. Klarg
3d10.
goes down.
It's a little bit less than average.
In a rage of fury, he went out and tried to kill you, and you've just like completely demolished him.
So we can see the boss
There's
can
still
go down in just one round.
some members of his band
Barbarian
that are
hitting
not
hard,
happy to see you.
then inflict wounds.
Lily, what are you doing?
I
Let's
Can I
see
move?
this other creature
Oh,
here.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I should have given you the benefit to.
now that Klarg is down, let's go to our little halftime report. All right. Sorry, give me a moment. All right, so we just saw that Klarg had been taken down. Thoughts on where we're at so far?
Well, they've dealt with this very well. Like, they scouted, the enemies in advance, avoided the ambush, which would have been devastating if it had worked.
Right.
And then really focusing fire on the main threat. Very good move because that way they avoid a lot of damage.
I totally agree. Again, as we heard, Klarg was a bugbear, and bugbears, especially on the ambush, can do some heavy damage. I believe they get advantage on surprise rounds. They get an extra 2d6 on their first turn in combat, which can easily take out, especially a level 1, easily take out a level 1 player, even some of the stronger ones. Like where barbarians.
Level 1 characters are very squishy.
Yeah.
Like already the goblins hit on Lily with 5. Probably Lily is pretty low in HP already.
Yeah, as we know with level 1, you get your max HP, but for wizards, that's 6. So a hit of 5, that's going to bring in, like you said, they're pretty squishy. Lily only needs another hit, and then she'll go down. One thing I did want to cover was Mosh's movement from where he was over here, going down. I believe he took the diagonal and then went, so it was like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 feet. And I know there's always some speculation, or always some controversy over moving diagonals. For me, I would say the diagonal would have been 10 feet of movement instead of just 5. I always count my diagonals as 10 feet, just because of the way the grid is laid. And although it wouldn't have made much of a difference because Polearm Master and a glaive, you have that extra reach, Mosh would have still been in range. I like to always kind of point out when you're using a diagonal, I say it's 10 feet. What are your thoughts on diagonals?
Well, I do the more circumvoluted, movement rule, which is when you move in diagonal, it is 5 and 10 and 5 and 10. So every 2 squares, you've moved 15, which is very close to the mathematical calculation. But it is a bit more complicated, and I completely understand, people doing 5 or 10 fixed, so that it's set. Right. It is just question of preference. Every DM, has different rules on that, I feel.
I think it's always good to check with your DM what those movements are. Just ask quickly as you're doing your calculations on the field. I like to do 10 feet on diagonal. Simon, like you said, alternating 10 and 5. Let us know what you choose. What do you do at your table? Do you do the 10? Do you do the alternating? Do you use hexes? I think which would just completely take the argument out. Yes. All right, so the other pieces, now that we're here, Klarg is down, but there's still some other enemies going that are still up and ready to battle. What do you think the chances are? Like, how do you feel that the chances are for our players now as we're leaving at halftime?
My fear is that if Lily goes down quickly, which could happen with just one more hit, then it would start escalating pretty quick. So if they don't deal with the group, with area of effects, it might really get out of hand. So I'm curious to see how they're gonna handle that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Again, because there are still some enemies that can hit hard. Again, 5 is a huge amount of damage, and I only think that was max damage for a goblin. So they could possibly take out players in one shot.
Yes.
I will say they have been playing very strategically. They have been kind of looking around, not rushing into battle. They've been kind of very close together. So which is good, so they can kind of help each other. However, if one of those enemies has an area of effect spell or something that does an area of effect and can get them all at once, grouping isn't the best idea. I will say, absolutely, some other things to consider are from what they're looking at, always kind of take a look at your environment. Those stairs, you can ask your DM, hey, do I get partial cover? You know, if you imagine if you're in the stairs and looking up or down, there might be cover. So always check for the DM for that. And also,
in particular, Lily there, is up the stairs, kind of behind the wall. I feel like Lily could definitely have, asked for at least, quarter or half cover that, significant bonus to AC. Which could have changed the result of the attack. So it's definitely something good to mention to the DM if it's a strategical choice you've made. You can definitely mention it and just say, "Hey, wouldn't I have cover here?"
exactly, and always be nice to the DM and ask them, would this count as cover? Because I think in this one, had the player asked, I probably would have said, yep, you have either partial cover or even maybe full cover from that wall, depending on who it is. Like this goblin would be full cover, and this one might be partial cover. So it all depends on what your DM is going to rule for. But yeah, so they are heading into the second half of the battle. Let's see how they make out. There we
Do
go.
something with your.
I'm just going to move back behind my companions there.
Okay, of course. Sorry, go ahead, Lily.
You're good. Firstly, I'm going to move Nagwai away. Use my movement speed to move up here, and I have a line of sight on this new wolf right here.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. I'm going to.
Klarg's dying words, by the way, was like, "Where the hell is the wolf?"
Where's the wolf?
I'd like to cast. Just make sure this is all. Yeah, that's perfect. I'm going to cast Sleep.
Nice.
Right in this section right here in the middle.
Okay.
I'll move Nagwai where I want it to be. Right here where Nagwai is.
Yeah.
I'm going to cast Sleep on all of them around. So
yeah, remind me, what's the radius on that?
That is a 20-foot sphere.
Okay, yeah. So you're gonna like everybody will be in there.
So exactly. So I just have to roll 5d8. So 1 second to calculate this real quick. 3.
Oh, we're already going to sleep with that spell.
7.
I have to say, sleep is a great spell. We'll get into it in just a moment.
So that is 27 points of sleep.
All right. Now that we have sleep cast, we found out how much it puts, how much the sleep is going for. Can we talk a little bit about sleep and why that is such a great spell?
Especially at low level, it is a fantastic spell. So you roll 5d8, and then all the creatures within range, 20 feet, will fall asleep, which means become unconscious, have the unconscious condition. And it goes by ascending order of HP until you've reached here 27 that was rolled. That is an above average roll.
Yeah, it was a really good roll. I think the average is like 22, 23. So 27 definitely is a lot.
Yeah, so the goblins are going to be affected first because they have lowest HP, and then the wolves, I think. But yeah, that is a fantastic strategy here, trying to decrease the number of enemies that are, active on the battlefield to then take them one by one.
Right, because they're going to be losing their turns unless an ally wakes them up, or or unless they get attacked. And if they get attacked, and at this point, it's probably they'll be out of the battle. They'll be taken out of the battle once they're attacked, because I believe once the unconscious condition means that any attack within 5 feet also gives an automatic critical hit.
Yeah, automatic critical, plus your attackers have advantage against creatures unconscious. So it's really extremely advantageous.
It's a great spell, and again, we say it's a really good spell at lower levels, because that's when a lot of those minions or lower level enemies will have lower HP. A lot of times, especially in D&D, what will happen is as enemies get a higher combat rating or difficulty level, they'll get that by just increasing the amount of hit points that they have. So you have to like just hit them more often, which is really bad for sleep, because if you do not get enough of the if you not roll high enough to get over that creature's health, then it just doesn't have any effect at all. I will add though that if you are fighting some creatures and you've been hitting on them, sleep affects their current health, not their maximum. So let's say that Klarg was brought down to 20 health, and then sleep was cast on him. In this case, he would be able to be brought to sleep. But yeah, again, fantastic spell. Let's see how it works. Let's see the results.
That is how many hit points of the creatures the spell can affect. So basically, starting with the lowest going up.
Yeah, 27 total. Okay, so you have got the 2 goblins go to sleep, and the one wolf who is like trapped and has not been able to escape his bonds is just the exertion of and frustration and shame of letting down his master is just like he drops off into a nightmare. So the only creature that is still awake is
fantastic.
This guy
the
here.
Improv, the role play.
Gotcha.
Definitely.
Okay. That would be my action and movement.
Builds
So
the
I'm
battle.
finished.
All right, Edgar Slorbash, we're up to you. What are you going to do?
And so you said both of the goblins are asleep now?
Yeah, the 2 goblins at the back of the cave, and then the wolf to the west. Western wolf is asleep. Eastern wolf is angry and confused.
So here now, it's again the decision of what to do. Do you attack the wolf that's awake and then let the others sleep and then take them out? Or do you just start picking off the enemies that you can get to?
All right, so I think I'll go for the Eastern Wolf then.
Okay.
Yep. For the asleep one, trying to take them out right away.
And I'll,
Yep. He said Eastern, but I went to the Western one. Take them out right away. Really good. Really good
attack
decision.
him with my dagger.
Very good.
And remember that this attack is at advantage, and if it hits, it's a critical hit. So.
And that's a 22 for the roll to hit.
Yeah, that's definitely a hit.
Nice
job.
And for the damage, that is, a nice 6 damage.
6 seems kind of low.
Okay,
I'll let you know
because the wolf is asleep, and so because of that, every hit is a critical hit. So you can add on an extra D6 of damage.
I think right there, because it's a dagger, would be a D4, but just those critical hits you roll.
That is another 6 damage. Max on both. Wow.
Nice.
So
That's great.
That's enough. That wolf was first ashamed, then asleep, and now he's dead. All right.
Poor puppy.
Anything
Poor
else?
puppy.
Any more movement?
Great move to
things you want to do.
start picking off the enemies.
How much more movement do I have?
Let's see. I think you moved in like 5, 10, 15, 20. But you got another like 10 feet of movement, I'd say.
So now again, just trying to figure out where to position to be like most advantageous. There's still one creature that's awake, 2 that are asleep. So this is trying to figure out exactly where to put oneself is always helpful. Always want to use all your movement,
Just
any
sticking out
actions
there,
and
or
bonus
you're
actions.
deciding
Yeah,
what to
I
go.
think I'll move over here
That's the fire.
and
Nice.
damage sponge.
Okay, you can't be. Well, you can be there, but if you're there, you're in the fire because that's
So he
the
wants to
fire.
kind of provoke the wolf, but in this
Well-
case, this is why I love having dynamic sets where you have the
gonna be
environment
ours.
that you can
Or I
interact
could
with.
move up to the little nook over there.
So
Well, you can just move one space up, and then you're no longer in the fire.
having these dynamic
Everybody
sets,
likes a toasty
having being able
warlock,
to
though.
use the environment,
this blocks. There's no line of
it
fire
adds
from here.
another layer.
No, so
for the
right
strategy
here,
of the
battle.
battle,
this
knowing what to
space
do.
represents a fire pit, and so you'd moved your character on top of the fire.
And also
Oh,
gets
that-
in-
Almost.
that
And
fire.
So
Oh,
your,
that's,
go
that's
nine.
your
lit.
cloak is singed, but if you want to move up one spot, we'll let you get out of the fire since it was not immediately obvious to you. Let me do it for you. There you go.
All right. Still, and then
Or
I
are you
think,
going over there? He's tricky. Where's that
thought-
going? It's
am I
those
going?
weird warlock.
There
Oh,
we
I
go.
thought you were
Yeah.
saying I was in the line of fire of the goblins.
No,
No,
you're
no.
on
On
the fire
fire.
pit. You're on the
Oh, line of
side.
fire
You're on top
versus
of the
on
fire
fire.
pit.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
goblins are
That
asleep.
campfire isn't orange; it's brown.
I know it's crazy, right? We gotta contact
Old
Mike
maps.
Schley and tell him to fire up his fire pits. So the wolf is like confused and kind of scared by your erratic movement. Does,
again,
Make a wisdom saving throw.
really, really great way to weave that
doesn't
in.
really know which
Makes
way to
the-
go,
makes the battle
but
so much better.
he retreats and comes in between these two, and he wakes up one of the goblins. And I'm going to give because there's a clutter of stuff, I'm going to give it a chance of the clutter collapsing onto the second goblin and waking him up.
So I just want to take a record scratch right here, just so we can kind of talk about the environment, because it's been being used a lot in the last few minutes. We've had one character kind of go into a fire pit and say that's not really a spot where you can stand. We've had other characters that are moving around, and now Paul, our DM, says the wolf is running into clutter. There's a lot of things around. So will it wake up another goblin? They're taking one action to wake up a goblin, which is one of the ways that you can get out of the sleep spell, and then saying, all right, well, there's a lot of stuff around here. Does it wake up the other goblin? Simon, what are your thoughts on this decision?
Well, first, on the environment, so all those traits, and the clutter was used first by the goblins to hide at the beginning. So first use of it. Same with the stalagmite for the bugbear and the wolf in the west. Just love of the use of the environment. To note that the fire, for instance, can be used by players. You can drag an enemy, in the fire, try to push them in there. Or it opens a lot of strategic moves and tactical possibilities. So really love the use of the environment here. The wolf trying to wake up the goblins by shoveling all those traits around. That's I think the best move here to gain again some numerical advantage.
Yeah, and I think that's great. I always love to see when players, personally, I fill my maps with items to be used. I have the environment there, so I really want players to use that environment, to ask me questions about it, how they can use it to their advantage. Yeah. Because just as Paul's doing here as a DM, I'm also going to be using that environment and figuring out ways that I could gain an upper hand in that battle, use it strategically, but. Let's see how it plays out.
So the wolf's kind of commotion, he gets an 11. So I'm going to say that's not enough for the debris to wake up the second goblin. So we got one awake goblin, one kind of terrified wolf, and one sleeping goblin. And that brings us to Mosh Fui. What are you up to?
All right. The awake goblin, that's the eastern one.
Yeah, you know
Just
what?
to
Actually, we'll let you go. And I skipped his. Well, no, he's awake. He's awake, right? He was sleeping. Sorry, I'm getting confused. Yeah, the awake one is to the east.
All right, let me just make sure that I've got the movement to get here. It looks like I do. I'm gonna. Oh, let's get off that.
So it looks like he
There
has
we go.
this movement.
I'm gonna move up to this other
moved on
sleeping
the
goblin
diagonal again.
Yeah.
and I'm gonna
Owlbear
take
said
a
it was
swing
fair,
at him
so
and see if I can get
can't
this
argue that.
guy.
Sure.
So-
And just so you know, because you're using the glaive, which is a polearm, your reach
I
is
can
increased.
on 10
You
foot.
don't have to be in the spot next to him. You could be a little further away, but you've got the movement, so that's
Yep.
fine to get up there.
Yep. So we're gonna take a swing with the glaive.
Yeah. Oh, also, I want to ask. Do you? I'm going to give you the opportunity again. Do you want, as a bonus action, did you want to activate your rage?
I'm not going to use the bonus action on it because I feel like I'm going to get more out of taking the bonus action for that Polearm Master attack.
Such a good move.
A true strategist. Who would have expected
well
such
once.
like poise out of a
Already worked,
barbarian?
yeah.
It must have been your brothers.
Barbarian who
had,
thinks.
who had made it into the monastic service, and you're just kind of taking on that wisdom, and you're a true strategist. Okay, go
everyone
go ahead and roll.
play the
'Cause you haven't
intelligent
played
barbarian.
since
It's
that
there.
goblin is asleep.
Yep. Even without advantage, I rolled a 22.
Dang. Okay. Yeah, and it's a critical. It's a critical hit.
Oh yeah, that goblin
so-
is toast, I think.
So he said without advantage, you roll 22.
So that swing.
Always want to roll at advantage
Let's
to see
see.
if you
I'm,
get that
I'm
nat
trying
20.
to figure out how to do a critical on D&D
Yep.
Beyond.
I mean, but
But
automatic
that swing
crit
alone did
anyway,
11
so
damage.
And just
it's
click the
true,
damage
actually.
twice. It's easier.
Oh, you're right.
There
You're
we
right.
go.
Yeah, it doesn't
That's
matter
really
because that's going to be enough. And
well-
this goblin
That's squishy.
gives up
Yes.
his mortal coil and he's gone.
Yep. And I'm going to take advantage of how far I moved up to him. Since I'm within 5 foot of Mr. Wolf there, we're going to use our butt attack on him.
Okay.
And we only rolled a 9 for that swing.
Yeah, so that is not enough. The
All
wolf
right.
kind of like crouches down and you miss. So let me see where that brings us in the order for so the goblin he's like oh, what and realizes he's under attack. He's going to kind of get up there close to you and he rolls a total of 23, which I assume is going to hit you.
Yes.
And he does you 5 points of damage.
Again,
All
that
right.
5 points
The one
hurts.
thing I am going to take advantage of is my Polearm Mastery opportunity attack.
Yeah. Okay. Right, because he's moving
what
into
we talked about
your
earlier with that Polearm Master.
to your reach.
Perfect.
Yep. And
That's fair.
I rolled a 23 on that
Okay.
for, let's see, 7 damage.
You know, it is said that goblins. Somewhere you heard the rumor that goblins have 7 hit points, and it turns out to be true because that's just enough.
So getting that opportunity
And
attack
he
on the
crumples
advance,
down to the ground.
really
Pretty good.
good.
Here, maybe we can take a quick break.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Let's take a quick break.
Yeah, so the Polearm Master feat is a very powerful one. It is, famous for a reason. So it gives both a bonus attack, bonus action attack with a 1d4 damage die. And when an enemy enters your reach, you can do an opportunity attack as a reaction. So that's what was used here to do, an attack when the goblin got in. An interesting point is that because the goblin was actually already within 10 feet, normally the opportunity attack shouldn't have applied because it applies when a creature enters the reach of the weapon. So here it's a bit of a debate. Was the creature within 10 feet already or not? I like the fact that Paul, rolled with it and just went with it. I feel like it's a great move because it goes with the flow of the fight. Technically, there could be an argument. That's all.
You see, I'd have to respectively disagree. I think the goblin was not within 10 feet. The way it was placed, it was sort of on halfway on one square, halfway on the other. But because the wolf was between the goblins, I would say the goblin was on the right side of the wolf. And in fact, this might be a good. Let's just take a quick jump over to what we were going to look at for. Sorry. Let's take a quick jump over. As we can see, the goblin was sort of right here. I see that it's more of this spot where Edgar was, not Edgar, Mosh was right here. So I would say that's more than 10 feet as the goblin went through. But again, it's all how you want to rule it.
Exactly.
Even so, that opportunity attack is massively good because it comes in. And I believe since the goblin was killed outright, that 5 points that it originally hit Mosh for is erased. That attack never happened because Mosh's opportunity attack happened before the goblin had a chance to attack. So even there, be able to save health on that way as well. Let's see how this plays out. There we go.
Now, Frank, as Steve, it's your turn. There's one cowering wolf at the back.
Well, come here. And
That is not a good position for the wolf.
That is not a good
say,
position.
Down boy. And it's going to sound like basically bells ringing inside his head. And I'm casting Toll the Dead. So
Nice.
I'm guessing Wolf is very wise. So 13 wisdom saving throw, please.
13 is the DC that has to roll for the wisdom saving throw, the wolf.
Yeah, the wolf gets a 7.
So that's a fail.
All right.
Yep.
And as we know for Toll the Dead, it's 1d8 if the wolf is at full health or 1d12 if it's hurt.
Okay. The wolf howls, but he's still standing.
Yep. And come right back here.
Very good. Okay.
Back in cover, just in case.
Lily, it's your turn.
All right. I'm going to have Lily is going to go right up these steps here. And this is the wolf, correct, that is being hurt?
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Let's see. It's this is the one that's still awake.
Gotcha. So I'm going to cast Firebolt and try to shoot it.
Nice.
That is an 18 to hit.
Okay, that's definitely a hit.
It's a D10 of fire damage, and I rolled a 4. So 4 points of fire damage to it.
Okay. He's still going.
He's going.
Trying to represent for
Chipping away at the wolf, though.
for Klarg after Klarg just went out in a blaze of non-glory.
I'm going to move behind Anchor so it does not look at me and try to kill me.
Okay.
Remember, right now,
it's
Lily is
just
pretty
going to
low
go
health.
for Mosh since it's the wolf's turn since he's right there, and he rolled a total of a 7, so I'm assuming that misses you, Mosh. Yeah,
That's about
it
half
does.
what it takes.
Okay. Okay. He's actually going to try and to run away. He's just scared. Doesn't really know what he's doing. So you can take an opportunity attack on him.
All right, let's do. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Give me one moment.
So the glaive comes down on his head.
Let's do a quick breakdown of the opportunity attack. So opportunity attack this time. Instead of the wolf incoming, the wolf is leaving. Right. So can you talk about what this would be a typical opportunity attack in this case?
Yeah, so Polearm Master provided before a special kind of opportunity attack, only accessible to this feat when a creature enters range. This time it's a more typical one where a creature is leaving the melee range of a character and the character can take an opportunity attack. One thing that's very interesting here is that Mosh already used his reaction for an opportunity attack before. So each character has an action, a bonus action, movement, and a reaction per turn. So normally Mosh should not have been able to do an opportunity attack here. His reaction having been used beforehand. It doesn't impact the fight. It is fine. But again, technically, his reaction was already used.
Yep. I was gonna bring up that point as well. Really, really good point. Just the Polearm Master is a special opportunity attack in which they can attack incoming characters, but it is still an opportunity attack. It still uses your reaction. This would have been a second reaction essentially because Mosh hasn't gained it back from taking a turn yet. So it's once one reaction per turn or per round that you get back at the start of your turn. So very, very, wouldn't affect the fight, like you said, but also just something to keep in mind as you're running games. And these are things that these like little technicalities are tough to keep track of. I know I still have trouble with them when I run games, and it's we can see it here as well. Yeah. All right, so with this opportunity attack, let's see how this all plays out.
Yeah, that so the glaive like comes down on his head, and for a second you think you missed him, but it's just that it sliced through so profoundly that it just kind of like went through like butter, and
overkill.
Goes to the ground, and you have completely destroyed Klarg and his henchmen and his one useless wolf. So congratulations. Right. You just defeated Klarg. Very good.
Woo!
Thanks everybody for joining us. That's the end of the battle.
Okay, so that was the battle. I don't know, any initial impressions?
So I think absolutely it was a really good first level battle. I think the party worked really well together. There was some really good teamwork in terms of sticking together and helping each other out. How about you?
I like that. I think everybody kind of got a chance to do something and a little chance to shine. I really liked how Brandon played Mashfue. I liked the atypical take on a warlock as well. So I think there was some unexpected and fun things there. Okay, so let's talk. We talked just briefly. How about a most valuable player? Who do you think that would be?
All right, so I've got to go with Mashfue. When Brendan played Mashfue, I definitely think being able to understand the character, being able to understand the Polearm Master feat and how that really could play well, especially at level 1, was a really good choice of giving up the rage for the extra attack. I'll go into more of that a little bit later.
Yeah, that was huge.
How about you?
I guess my most valuable character, I'm going to go with the familiar Mogwai Price. We'd seen this in other playtests that when the familiar gets in there and can see where Klarg is, it's like it makes a huge difference. Maybe it's even like battle over at that point. It just that knowledge really helps out the party.
Yeah, and as I said earlier in the episode as well, when a familiar gets put themselves in danger, that's an attack and a familiar would hit that would normally hit you, and that's an okay trade-off for a first level spell.
Yeah. Okay, and then so we're talking next about play of the game. Was there one play that stood out for you?
There was one play, but again, I had to bring it back to Mashfue. The play was the same in terms of using that bonus action attack from Polearm Master. Getting more attacks in instead of having the rage. Although the rage gives you that extra +2, the bonus action attack on average would give you more.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit of a risk, but with a little bit of a reward.
Right.
And it's not something that you always get to see barbarians play. So.
Oh yeah, no, it was huge. I had never thought of that, and that was my play of the game too. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Any take homes or like lessons? Do you think somebody could learn from this battle?
Yes. So I definitely think that the way that the players all were wanting to kind of figure out their surroundings first. They They were able to look for any threats that might be following up behind them, look ahead, using the familiar to scout the area. That was all really good. No one rushed in. Everyone really kind of stuck to each other to be able to have a very powerful offense and then to kind of take each of the creatures out one by one. Really good party dynamic there. How about you?
Yeah, my take home is similar to my MVP. Is take the spell, find familiar. It's super powerful. It doesn't necessarily seem so, but I think that was a good thing about looking at a battle. You can go oh yeah, that was super useful. So yeah, take find familiar. That's my my take home. And then finally, we're going to talk about. Any improvements? I mean, particularly, I think, with me, since I was the DM, what's one of the things I'm trying to get out of this channel is become a better DM, which probably isn't that hard. So, yeah, improvements.
Yeah, just from looking at it, being able to take your minions and use them more as shielding for your boss. So you go in first with the minions. I know the wolf had that pack tactics so that they would get advantage. Yeah. So running them in first would help. The other thing, too, is for the characters, for the players, although they did take Klarg out rather quickly, there were a couple of bad rolls on your side as Klarg.
Right.
Okay, could have just as easily been taken out. I know at one point, Lily, the wizard, got hit for 5 points.
Yeah, two more.
Yeah.
and she would have gone down.
I was going to say, at level 1, max out at 6 for the help time. Whenever the con is, it's not that much higher. So, yeah.
That's a good point. I like that getting the minions in there. I suppose because we had the advantage of playtesting this a few times. Klarg just couldn't seem to get a break. I sent him in to attack people. He lost. If he hung back, he also lost. So, but I think putting the minions in first is a great suggestion. Thanks.
Yeah, and I also say too, another take home is you're always sort of taking the encounter as it comes, especially at these low levels. There's a really big swing depending on how the die rolls.
Yeah.
So I think you did a really good job in running the adventure because, again, if Klarg hit more, if the goblins hit more, then it could have gone the other way.
Everyone would have died. Okay, I think that's it. Is it? We don't have anything else, right?
That's it for today.
Okay, so we'll see you next time on the battlefield.
Take care.